Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Nurhidayah binti Johari. Today I will be presenting a paper titled Applications of the Theory of Planned Behavior in Private Preschool Choice Selection in Malaysia. This paper is prepared by me, myself, and also Dr. Ismail binti Osman from UITM Shah Alam. Let's move on into the presentation outline. We will basically cover the research background, analysis and discussions of the literature, findings and recommendations, research limitation, and also originality or value. And last but not least, the conclusion. Okay, let's move on into the research background. So let's look into the definitions of preschool education. So what is preschool education? Preschool education is basically an early childhood education which aims to encourage all aspects of children development, such as motor skill, communication skill, cognitive skill, social skill, and some others. So a holistic and strong foundation at the very beginning of the age of 4 to 6 years old will basically prepare the children to succeed in the next education level. So let's look into the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013-2025 under the annual reports of 2016 with regard to the preschool education. So under the MEB, Malaysian Education Blueprint, the targeted is that the private preschool enrollment is targeted to be 60% out of the total national preschool enrollment for the year of 2020. Okay, however, the latest data shows that private preschool enrollment only managed to gather about 52% out of the total national preschool enrollment. So there are basically 8% gap with regards to the private preschool enrollment as a whole. Why the Ministry is targeting the 60% enrollments in the private preschool is basically in order to achieve the aspirations of the national key economic area with regards to the preschool education, in which the ministry is targeting to offer equitable access to the education opportunities among all Malaysian children. So move on into the comparison between public and private preschool enrollment for the year of 2010 till 2000. Okay, as compared from the year of 2011 till 2000 to 2012 to 2013, 2014 and onwards, we can see that private preschool enrollment is increasing in value. With regards to the percentage in 2016, we can see that private preschool enrollment is about 52% out of the total national preschool enrollment. However, this is still do not manage to achieve the targeted percentage of 60%. Despite of the fact that private preschool have the largest market share of the total student enrollment, the data shows that the increase in the number of private preschool in Malaysia is still slow, and huge efforts are need to be taken in order to achieve the 2020 target and futures target. Move on into the analysis and discussions of the literature. So this paper will basically outline the determinant factors that contribute to the parents' decisions on sending off their children to the private preschool. So for the purpose of this paper, we will basically use the theory of planned behavior. Theory of planned behavior is basically the extensions of the theory of reason action, which had been widely used to study on the consumer behavior. So this paper will basically outline the most influential factors which affect private preschool choice among parents, at which this information can basically be used to develop strategic marketing and also advertising, and also effective advertising. Okay, let's move on into the next one. For the purpose of this paper, the acquisitions of literature on this topic is derived from various sources of database such as psychology, marketing, social science, and also early childhood education. Okay, let's move on into the next one. This paper had summarized some of the factors parents' choices towards private preschool. Some of them are brand image, enriched curriculum, social demographic, locations, and transportations. We had classified them into few classifications, which are academic reason, racial reason, ideological reasons, and also geographical reasons. So, we also discussed them into components of the theory of planned behavior, TPB, which are, there are three components. The first one, attitudes, subjective norm, and last but not least, perceived behavioral control. So, at the end of the day, it leads toward the behavioral intention, which is private preschool behavioral choice selections among parents. Let's move on into the findings and recommendations. Based on a review of the literature, the result indicates that theory of TPB, theory of planned behavior, is appropriate to be used to study on the private preschool selection among parents based on behavioral. So, the finding also provides several factors that affect private preschool selection among parents based on behavioral factors. Such factors are brand image, language medium, word of mouth, and some others. So, as I mentioned earlier, later it had been classified into four main reasons, which are academic reason, racial reason, geographical reason, and also ideology. Let's move on into research limitations. Okay. Further research is still needed in order to identify other factors that could enhance the preschool enrollment as a whole. Future research may consider private preschool operators as a sample of future study, as the current study is only focused on the perspective of parents. Future research also can maybe evaluate the same model, but perhaps from the context of parents from the public preschool. What we are doing now is from the context of the parents in the private preschool. Later, in some other future research, they may consider to study on parents from the public preschool. Let's move on into originality or value. ESPA studies are mostly attempted to identify the private preschool choice selection among parents through research conducted independent of a theoretical framework. So, the research gap exists due to lack of theoretical framework had been used for the purpose of studying the private preschool choice selection. Hence, this study will help to answer the gap that exists by identifying the determinant factors that contribute to the parents' decisions on sending off their children to private preschool. So, this study basically applied the theory of planned behavior as a theoretical framework. Conclusions. Early childhood education or preschool education is a very crucial stage of education, as it is one of the robust foundations toward poverty eradication, economic stabilization, and some others. Holistic and very strong foundations at the very beginnings of the age will basically prepare the children to succeed in the next education level.